Imagine waking up one morning and watching your hands shake uncontrollably. You can't walk straight, you can't speak clearly, your neighbors are going blind, their children are born with twisted limbs, and the fish you've eaten your entire life is killing you. This is not a horror movie. This happened in Japan, and the company responsible knew. Minamata was a small fishing town on the coast of Japan. For generations, the people there lived simply, fishing the bay every morning, selling what they caught, feeding their families. The sea was everything to them. But in 1908, a company called Chisso built a chemical factory right on the edge of that bay. At first, it brought jobs. It brought money. It brought progress. Nobody asked what it was putting into the water. In 1950, fishermen started noticing something strange. Dead fish floating on the surface of the bay. Seabirds falling from the sky mid-flight. Cats in the village began convulsing, spinning in circles and throwing themselves into the sea. The locals called it the dancing cat disease. Nobody connected it yet. Then, in 1956, a 5-year-old girl was brought to the Chisso factory hospital. She couldn't walk. She couldn't speak. Her body twisted and shook without stopping. Days later, her sister showed the same symptoms, then their neighbors, then the entire street. The doctor made one call that would change everything. He reported an epidemic of unknown disease in Minamata Bay. Scientists investigated. They found mercury, methylmercury, one of the most toxic substances known to man, in the fish, in the shellfish, in the bodies of the sick. It was coming from Chisso's factory. For years, Chisso had been dumping chemical waste directly into Minamata Bay. The mercury entered the fish, the people ate the fish, and the poison slowly destroyed their nervous systems. But here is the darkest part of this story. Chisso knew. Their own internal research had already discovered the link between their waste and the disease. They hid it. They changed their waste pipe to a different part of the bay, spreading the contamination further. And they kept producing, kept dumping for years. The victims lost control of their limbs. Their vision narrowed until they saw the world through a tunnel. They lost their hearing, their ability to swallow. Mothers who had eaten fish during pregnancy gave birth to children with severe disabilities, even though the mothers themselves showed no symptoms. The mercury had crossed the placenta. It had poisoned children before they even took their first breath. These children became known as congenital Minamata disease patients. By the time the full scale was understood, over 2,000 people had been officially certified as victims. Researchers believe the real number is closer to 50,000. The fight for justice took decades. Chisso denied everything. The Japanese government was slow to act. Chisso was too economically important to the region. Victims who sued were called troublemakers. They were shunned by their own community because without Chisso, there were no jobs. Finally, in 1973, 17 years after that first little girl was brought to the hospital, a court ruled against Chisso. They were ordered to pay compensation. But for many victims, justice came too late. Some had already died. Others spent their entire lives unable to care for themselves. Today, Minamata is a symbol. In 2013, the United Nations created the Minamata Convention on Mercury, a global treaty signed by countries around the world to prevent this from ever happening again. The bay has been cleaned, the fish are safe again, but the survivors still live with their damaged bodies, their damaged memories, And the question that never truly goes away: how many people have to suffer before a corporation tells the truth? Minamata answered that question. The answer was too many. If this story affected you, share it, because some stories deserve to be heard, and I'll see you in the next one.